Hey guys, my name is Oshun the Great, and welcome to my beautiful channel. Now today is a story time about having sex in hostels. I'm in a hostel right now. I don't want them thinking that I'm doing that right now at this particular one. But last night I had a crazy moment with me and a friend of mine. I was actually sneaking in a hostel. I wasn't supposed to be there, but I snuck and stayed with him, whatever. But what happened, and it's crazy because when you're doing shit you're not supposed to do, and then someone else does some shit they're not supposed to do, and it kind of takes off the heat. So that was pretty cool. That was a cool part. But other than that, hostel experience can be pretty wild, like pretty wild. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you have so many different personalities from all over the world. You have crazy people who are like privileged, to people who are just like, you know, haven't had it easy their whole life. So many different walks of life come together and they start acting crazy sometimes. But in this particular situation, it was about sex. And basically what happened was, in this situation, I booked a room in this hostel before. It's a pretty cool hostel, and the host was nice and things like that. But one particular night, it took me, I was too late on booking the room again or something, so I had a friend that I already knew there, and I just, you know, bunked it with him or whatever. And you know, sometimes you have bunk beds, and what people do when they travel, when they want privacy, because hostels aren't really privacy based, and that's what I hate about hostels, to be honest. So we would take like extra blankets and drape it and make like basically like a tent kind of thing. So people do that a lot so they can have privacy, and the bottom bucket works, not top bunks and shit like that. Well, anyway, last night, people were drunk out of their fucking mind and came in at like 1 a.m. and all of a sudden, everyone's trying to go to sleep, and I wake up to, first of all, a girl yelling that she won a bull riding competition and she was going to get kicked out. The next thing we know, the host let her come back in if she would settle down. Then the next thing we know, on top of the bunk of ours, there's basically, she was drunk and she had some random guy, and they just started fucking like right in front of everybody in the room. It was dark, mind you, but it wasn't even like trying to sneak. It was more so they were just didn't give a fuck. To me, this was a girl that was like really privileged, really rich girl, like gets her way all the time. But they didn't care. So all of a sudden, it was the bed is shaking all night, and we're just like, what the fuck? And this is after the guy I was bunking with, he was telling them to shut the fuck up for talking like all drunk slurs and talking and stuff. And all of a sudden you just hear the girl just moaning in front of everybody. And so some people started walking out the room, and I'm telling you, it went on for like 30 minutes straight, man, like without no one doing anything. And I'm sitting here thinking like, nobody gives a fuck, I guess. And no one told the host or nothing, I guess. And so it went on for a little bit. And so again, the guy I was with, he said he was like, oh, if you guys don't shut up, I'm gonna, you know, tell the host and shit. So he left, and then they finally left the room or whatever. And then all of a sudden he comes back, and we're just like, I'm still trying to hide from everybody. And what else happened? Then all of a sudden she comes back pissed, like, oh, how are you gonna tell on me for fucking, because you know, you were fucking, she was talking to the guy I was with, you were fucking the other night. And yes, it was like that, I'm not gonna lie, because we were trying to be discreet about it though. Hostels again aren't very privacy, so if you're gonna do it, you're taking a huge risk, for one. But what happened? But he kind of played it off and was like, I don't care if you're, you know, you're whatever you're doing, but just be quiet about it. It's 1 a.m. and shit. And so that's how that happened. And still, this girl didn't get kicked out. It was just a crazy ass night, crazy ass situation. I couldn't sleep. I think I didn't even go to sleep until like 2 a.m., some shit like that. And then today I just ended up like getting a room to another hostel just to get a break and get away, even though that hostel was pretty like clean and dope atmosphere. It's just that night was wild for me. But yeah, that's my little story about like how shit goes down in hostels as far as like sex. Of course, and a lot of people, it's like common, but some Airbnbs and hostels don't go for that shit, so it can potentially get them like bad reviews, or like they could end up kicking, like they kicked the guy out in this situation and they let the girl stay. So there's like some people who have like certain rules about that, so you're really like pushing the thin line when you're doing stuff like that. I know my first experience was, my first hostel of doing that myself was in Miami, South Beach, with the Argentinian guy or some shit like that. Mind you, I was really scared, but the room was empty, and not all situations are going to be like perfect like that, but otherwise there's been other situations where it's like, nah, I'm not taking that chance kind of thing. But if you're traveling, obviously Airbnbs and hostels are going to be like your cheapest, but they are not the most private again. But yeah, these are little fun, kind of crazy, exotic, crazy stories of my life, some of it anyway. But there's been some wild stories in hostels. By far that has to be the wildest one. Like, they just didn't give a fuck, and we were just like, oh well, we hope the bed didn't fall on us and shit, and all kind of shit that they couldn't wink. It was just crazy night. As far as sneaking in the hostel, that was too much stress for me, so I don't think I would do that again. But otherwise, yeah, kids stay in school. No, for real. I'm thinking about looking into work trade situations again, though, because again, that's the cheapest way to travel and to save money if you are not really making bank like that and shit. But yeah, so that's my little story time of sex in hostels. and my friend keeps saying how we ended up in the orgy on accident. But yeah, be dope, be unapologetically.